Hey everyone, good morning, folks. Good evening, good morning. Hi everybody. Morning, good evening, hi everybody. What are you all doing? All good? All good, folks? Yeah, exactly. Everyone, please be careful. Lot of things, lot of cold going around. Yes, agree. Okay, should we start, everybody? Should we start? Should we begin the session? Okay, should we start? Okay, cool. Let's begin then. Let's get started. Okay, chalo, let's begin. So, till now, how many design patterns you have discussed, everyone? Can somebody tell me the names? Till now, how many design patterns we have discussed? Can someone tell me the name? Singleton, correct. Singleton, factory. Inside factory, there were three types: builder and prototype. All of these are part of what kind of a design pattern? What kind of design pattern do they belong to? What kind do they belong to? Everyone, what kind do they belong to? Belong to creational, correct? Exactly. These are all creational design patterns. Correct. So we discussed four creational design patterns. We discussed four creational design patterns. Now we'll start today with structural design patterns. Okay. Today we'll start with structural design patterns. Okay. Structural design patterns. So what do these structural design patterns help us with? Like what do they actually do? Like what is the use case of these structural design patterns? So basically they tell you how to structure your code base. As the name suggests, basically how to structure your code base, right? How to structure your code base. So it can be that what kind of classes should be present, right? What classes should be present? What classes should be present, correct? Number 2 point can be attributes that you need with every class. Attributes that you need with every class, right? How different classes talk to each other, right? These are the few important pointers that we look into when we start with structural design pattern, right? So we'll see, we'll see multiple of them. So today we'll see two of them: adapter and facade. So we'll start with first adapter design pattern. We'll start with first adapter design pattern, and then we'll go to facade design pattern. Okay? I've shared the link with all of you in case if you have to scroll up or scroll down. Right? Okay. So adapter design pattern. What is adapter? Any idea? Any idea what is adapter? Like, tell me the term, like in basic English, what is the meaning of adapter? Plugin. Okay. While I traveled to Europe, I needed for my laptop charging. Correct. 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 Converting ports. Yes, correct. So can I say basically, adapter is nothing but converting one port to another. Can I say that? It's nothing but converting one port to another, right? So probably few examples if we discuss. Example, MacBook ports. You would have seen MacBooks only have, like previous to the current generation, they used to have only Type C, no Ethernet, no HDMI, nothing else, no Type A. So you used to have to carry a lot of adapters. Correct? You might have seen MacBook ports. Correct? So HDMI to Type C, etc., etc. Then the next one is plugs, socket adapters, right? Socket adapters. So for example, let's say your US socket looks something like this, right? If I'm not wrong, right? The pins are rectangular in shape, correct? Whereas the Indian plugs look like this, correct? Everyone, outlets are like this. So you need something like a universal adapter in between that acts like the bridge between the two, right? Universal adapter. Everybody clear, right? What is the meaning of adapter? Yes, no? Yes, everyone? What happened to everybody? Are you guys feeling sleepy? Is it too early in the morning? It's summer now. I think 7 a.m. is not too early in the morning. Correct, correct. Now, so basically, if I just say what is adapter, basically, right? Uh, Charging point, correct. Yes, correct. Yes. So basically, if I have to say, right, what is an adapter? Adapter is nothing but intermediary level, intermediary layer that that transforms or connects or transforms one form to another form, one form to another form. Is that correct? Everyone? Like for example, you can convert. If you remember, initially we used to have micro SD cards. Do you remember? But would like were we ever able to insert the micro SD card directly to the computer? Do you remember micro SD cards? Everyone? Yes, micro SD cards. But was it directly installable in the machine? No. So we used card readers. Yes, exactly, Dinesh. We used card reader, right? Card readers are there. Okay. Card readers, exactly. So basically, micro SD to USB A. It was done via card readers, right? Card readers, correct. Then in Apple, you might have seen, right? Type C to HDMI to Type C. Apple only accepts Type C, so HDMI to Type C. Again, some adapter, correct? Right? You might have seen all these things, right? So basically, these are the examples of adapters. Everybody is clear with what is the adapter? Yes or no? Everyone clear on this? Clear, everybody? Yes, no? Clear, right? Awesome. ठीक है. Now, I have a question from all of you. I have a question to all of you. Have you guys seen like people criticizing Apple for not giving enough ports, charging so much money but still not giving enough ports and all that? Have you guys seen that, right? Let's assume that Apple one day accepted our problems, like accepted the customer like what the customer was saying, and they want to give you all the ports that they want. Feedback, yeah, correct. That's for the word. I was missing the word. And they want to give you all the ports that you want. So, for example, assume one day Apple wants to give all ports to users. All ports to users. For example, for example, all ports HDMI, Type C, Type A, MagSafe, Ethernet, SD card, 3.5 headphone jack, everything, whatever else that you can think of. All the ports that are present, Apple is giving you all the ports. What problem can occur if Apple does this? What problems might occur if Apple does this? What problems can occur due to this? Any idea, everyone? Or you think no problems can occur? It's just that good for us. Why do we need to carry so many cables, Srinath, if Apple is giving you all the ports on the laptop itself? Why will it be incompatibility, Navi? Apple is giving you all the ports. What incompatibility? Correct. Correct. Yes, 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 yes. Number one, everyone, if Apple wants to do this, number one, if the Apple wants to do this, uh, first of all, need to provide the hardware code, right? Just adding the port will not work, correct? Just adding the port will not work, right? It's not like just add the port and everything will work. To also write the software for it, right? The code for it, right? So, need to provide the code for using the port. Basically, OS needs to talk to the port. Correct? Number two, too much complexity. Correct? Too much complexity. At hardware level. The last one is if you add so many ports, if you add everything, so much hardware will go into the laptop. The motherboard will increase, like have so many things. Overall, the size will increase, the weight will increase, the price will increase. Is that correct? Increase in size, weight, and price. Correct? Also, as Sudha said, a very important point, not everybody would need this, right? Not everybody would need all the ports, correct? So why to make it so bulky? Why to make it more costly? Why to make it so complex? Maintenance will also increase, exactly. So because of that, what Apple thought that okay, let's do one thing. Let's do the one thing that instead of giving all the ports, let's choose, right? So Apple developers chose the most popular port USB Type C for normal for entry level MacBooks and Type C plus HDMI for Pro models. That's it. That's it. Correct? So so it needed it needed minimal code change, minimal code change or addition, and maintained less complexity for the overall design. ठीक है, चलो. Now, everyone, but the point here is still I will need to connect, right? Some people might need to connect to a printer, some people might still need to connect to some musical devices, probably for recording a song and all. Some people might need to connect to their cameras. Still, a lot of people might need to connect, right? So for those people, for those who want to connect to something external which is not possible via type C, what do they use? Others who want different connectivity, what do they use? They use converters, connectors, adapters, right? So such a name is adapters. They use adapters. Correct? Yes. Okay. Same thing happens in our software design. Whenever we're designing our software, let's imagine that our software or our application wants to talk to AWS. Don't let it talk to AWS directly. Don't. Why? Instead of it talking directly to AWS, introduce an adapter in between. Introduce an adapter in between. Why? What adapter does in real life gives you the flexibility to convert one form to another. Easily you can, like if you buy a universal charger, you can go to Europe, you can go to USA, you can go to Australia, everywhere you can come to India, everywhere it will work. Right? It is giving you the flexibility of using your product anywhere in any country of the world. Right? So this is the advantage of using adapters. Same thing we'll do with adapters in software. Right? So the problem statement is very simple. The problem statement is very simple. The problem statement here is very simple. Right? The problem statement is extremely simple. What it says that from time to time, we might want to change the third-party service providers of our software. Right? We might want to change third-party service providers in future. For example, I might move, let's say for cloud platforms, everyone. For cloud platforms, I might want to move from AWS to GCP. I might want to move from AWS to Azure. I might want to, right? I might want to move from Apple Maps to Google Maps or Google Maps to Apple Maps. I might want to change my SMS service provider. Correct? I might want to change my payment provider. I might want to change my banking partner. I might want to change my KYC partner, etc. etc. Does this thing make sense to all of you? That let's say my service uses these third-party integrations to work overall. So I might want to change the third-party integration, right? Yes or no, everyone? Yes, everyone, yes, no? Correct? Right? That can be due to different reasons. That can be due to performance, that can be due to pricing, that can be due to multiple different reasons. So the example that we discussed, if you all remember, was when PhonePe, which was initially dependent on Yes Bank, right, was removed from this was removed and then it went dependent on ICICI Bank. Correct? Yes. So if you basically follow adapter design pattern, what adapter design pattern helps you to basically it makes it very easy for us to replace or change any third-party integration. Okay, so adapter design pattern ensures that our code base remains that our code base remains maintainable and relatively independent. Maintainable and relatively independent, correct? Of the third party dependencies. Of our third party dependencies. Dependent third party dependencies. Okay. So that we can easily change, so that we can easily change or replace them if required. Right? What can be the difference between third party dependencies? Third party dependencies can be anything. They can be a different service. They can be different service. They can be different SDKs. They can be different libraries. They can be anything. Okay? Clear? Basically, what we want to do, we don't want to have any tight coupling between our service and any third party dependencies. Right? So we should not have any tight coupling between our service and third party dependencies. Correct? Right? So what can we do to make sure that we have loose coupling? What do we use to maintain the loose coupling thing? What do we use to maintain loose coupling? Create adapter. Yeah. What do we use? Interfaces. Exactly. Correct. So basically make a rule. Make a rule. I'll just make it right like this. As a rule, whenever any third party dependency is introduced in the system, make sure it connects via an interface instead directly. Correct? Never connect to it directly. Connect to it via an interface. Like basically, let's say in a MacBook, if I want to connect to let's say an Ethernet port, I don't connect directly to the Ethernet port. No, I use an adapter in between, and then I connect to the Ethernet port. So this is basically our service. This is the third party, and we connect to it via an adapter, which is the interface. Interface acts as your adapter. Okay. So how do we use adapter pattern? Is everybody clear with the concept of adapter pattern, everyone? Like what is the basic agenda behind adapter pattern? Is everybody clear on that part? Can I get a yes or no from all of you? What problem statement is it solving? Yes. So whenever you see a third party dependency coming to your system, what do you do? What should you do? Whenever a third party dependency comes to your system, just use an adapter, an interface in between. Don't connect to them directly, just use an adapter in between. Right? Clear? Okay. So how to use adapter pattern? Correct, Sumit. You're right. You're right. So how to use adapter pattern, right? How to use adapter pattern. Right. Let's see that. How to use adapter design pattern. Okay. Now see, the idea is very simple. The idea is very simple, right? So what we are doing is we will actually create an interface to connect to the third party independence, right? Simple 2 steps. Use an interface to connect with third party. Number two, all logic and code in our system should be dependent on the interface, not on the third party directly, and not on the third party. Okay. If you remember everyone, I told you in the case of PhonePe, in the case of PhonePe, I told you everyone that there is a bank API interface maintained by the government. Every bank follows the same. Do you guys remember that? And we depend on that interface instead of depending on the actual bank implementation, correct? Just give me one, like 10 seconds, I'll be back. Okay? Yeah. So everyone, what I was saying is that dependency is there on what? On that interface. Now, the one thing that I want to clarify is there is no such bank API interface. There is no such bank API interface that the government has created, which every bank follows. There is nothing like that. Okay, that was just like I used that at that point of time to explain it to you. But in reality, there is no such bank API interface. So if there is no such bank API interface, then what do we do? What PhonePe did? What was PhonePe actually doing? So let's see. Let's say everyone, PhonePe wanted to use Yes Bank's API, right? PhonePe wanted to use Yes Bank APIs, right? Yes Bank APIs. Now, in Yes Bank APIs, let's say I have three methods: check balance, authenticate user, and do transaction. Now, let's say check balance returns the balance in double check balance. After that, do a authentication. So it returns with an integer, 0 or 1 for authentication. Similarly, an integer for transaction as well, like whether the transaction went successfully or not, as an integer. Now comes ICICI Bank, right? ICICI Bank. So ICICI Bank also has the same functionality, but the method name and return types are different. Right? So let's say instead of check balance, it is called query balance. Query balance, and instead of double, it returns a float. Right? At authentication, instead of authentication, it says check user, and instead of an integer, it returns a boolean. Again, instead of transaction, it says transfer. Again, instead of an integer, it says boolean. Now, everyone, since the third party dependencies are not implementing any interface, right? As I told you, there is no such interface that the third party will do, right? Yeah, that's what I'm doing, right, Karthik? If you see here, Yes Bank and ICICI have different method names. Their parameters might also be different. The parameters might also be different, right? Method parameters will also be different. So the input that you're passing to them and the output that you're getting from them are different, correct? So here, if you see, check balance is returning a double. Here, check query balance is returning a float. So method name is different. Method parameters are different. Method return type are different. So everything is different. Everything is different, right? So you understand everyone how difficult it will become for us to change. Let's say if I'm directly, like if I'm tightly coupled on Yes Bank, moving from here to here will be a big pain, correct? Will be a big pain, right? You have to test a lot of things, change a lot of code and all that, correct? So what should I do? So what should I do? We will use an adapter in between. Is that correct? Sorry. We will use an adapter in between. Is that correct, everyone? Yes, no? So what we'll do? we will create our own bank API interface. So PhonePe, we will create a bank API interface. This is called bank API interface. And here we will add the methods that we want. So what are the methods that we want? What are the methods that we want? So let's say we want the methods as check balance, let's say, or let's call it get balance. This works in a double, right? After that, authenticate, right? Let's say authenticate. It's a boolean, and let's say transaction, again a boolean. Just give me 10 seconds, everyone. 10 seconds. Yes, correct, correct. Yes, Dhananjay. This interface is created by the PhonePe team. And now PhonePe team will have multiple implementations. So, yes, Bank API, and then ICICI Bank API. And these will be dependent on directly tightly coupled with Yes Bank. This will call ICICI. Okay, like this. So instead of PhonePe being dependent on the Yes Bank directly, it is now dependent on the interface. Interface implements, like we write the implementation logic, and this is directly dependent on Yes Bank. This is directly dependent on ICICI Bank, like that. No, Narendra, no. So basically, Narendra, if whenever you create a contract with a bank or any third party, you get their APIs. They'll give you their APIs, their API format and everything, they'll share it with you. So what you will do, basically, when you will write this implementation logic, that okay, how my get balance will get implemented using Yes Bank, inside this get balance logic, so basically I will write the method for here, double get balance. And inside this, I will call Yes Bank, call to Yes Bank. Okay, and this call will be dependent on how they are doing. Okay, correct. So basically, this entire interface is the adapter, not the three APIs, but this entire interface is the adapter. I mean, okay, everyone, are you clear on this part? Like, what is the adapter and how is the adapter coming from? Is everybody clear on this part? Can I get a yes or no from everybody? Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Any questions, everyone? Any questions? How so, Sumit? That internally I can handle now. I can handle it internally, and I can handle that internally, no, and then return the same time. Correct. So does PhonePe had already created interfaces for all the banks created that was used for ICICI later? Didn't get you, Vidhan. What are you saying? Yes, Sumit, we are implementing. Yes. Yeah. So basically, Karthik, the question is very simple. The idea is very simple. You create your own interface, right? Let's say PhonePe wants to depend on another bank, correct? So instead of PhonePe being dependent, basically the idea is simple. Instead of PhonePe being dependent directly on Yes Bank, it is now saying what I will depend on an interface called Bank API, which is inside my own code base. And this interface will be implemented using the Yes Bank API, and I will be dependent on Bank API. So my entire code base will depend on this interface. And there will be one class which will implement this interface using the actual Yes Bank APIs. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So Karthik, if you have two credit report companies, you create a common interface. You implement the interface using the credit report agencies, and then your entire code base depends on that interface. So you basically what will happen later on, everyone, that inside the PhonePe class PhonePe, I can just go ahead and write like this: bank API equals to, let's say, new ICICI Bank API, or I can write new Yes Bank API directly, right? I just convert this, and everywhere else my code base is using bank API as the third party dependencies everywhere in the code base. Just one line change I have to do, either ICICI Bank or Yes Bank, and automatically it will start working. Correct? Okay, let me first unmute you, Vidhan. I'm not able to understand your question. Hi, Vidhan.
Yeah, Sandeep. I was asking that does every like phone have all those? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was asking like PhonePe and these companies, does they have already created interfaces for all the banks, like already prepared one? Just they need to implement it whenever they fail or
Yeah,
something
so
happens.
there is a single interface. It's not like there are multiple interfaces. There is a single interface. Right? You will have one adapter. Now that adapter is implemented via, let's say, initially PhonePe was only using S Bank. Later on, now they want to use ICICI Bank. So just need to write one class, the ICICI Bank API, which will implement the interface, and that's it. And in the main code base, they will go ahead and change the object. Instead of Yes Bank, they'll write new ICICI Bank. That's it. Later on, let's
Oh,
say Axis Bank also comes in. They will just add a new class called Axis Bank API, right, which will implement this interface. And here they will just cut everything and write new Axis Bank API. That's it.
okay, okay, that. Okay, I get it. Sandeep. Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody clear on this? Karthik, are you clear on this? Yes, that is happened at PhonePe. Yes, 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 yes. Sumit, are you clear? So Sumit, basically, even though they are returning, let's imagine that they are returning a boolean. Sorry, let's say they are returning an integer. So can I just say that if the return value is equal to 1, I will return a true? Can I do like this, Sumit? Right? So internally, when I'm implementing, can I handle the return type of the bank and convert it to the return type that I need, that I want? Yes? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yes. So internally, when I'm implementing that particular, let's say inside Yes Bank or inside ICICI Bank, I will convert it to accommodate according to mine. Right? Just a second. You might be getting a lot of background noise. Just give me a minute. Crisp is not working. Let me quickly. Yeah. Please tell me if you're able to. Everyone, is the noise cancellation getting better? Is it better now? Are you getting any noise? All good? Okay, buddy. Just let me know if you get ever background noise. I might forgot to turn it on. I'll quickly turn it on. Okay. Dhananjay, the point is, this is your entire PhonePe's code base. PhonePe's code base is dependent on Yes Bank API. Let's say later on, ICICI Bank also fails. I really hope it does not. But let's just assume that ICICI Bank also goes down. Some technical issue comes and it goes down. In that case, what they'll have to do, they'll just write a new class called Axis Bank API, let's say. They will implement all these methods using directly Axis Bank. They will talk to Axis Bank and implement all these methods. And inside the actual PhonePe's code base, they will just change it to new Axis Bank API. Do you think any other change required from them? Dhananjay? Do you think any other change required from them? One interface. No? Let me unmute you. But Hey, Dhananjay,
Oh,
hi.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Uh,
why do we need one interface?
yeah, my confusion here is, yeah, S Bank and ICICI, so they have their own contract, right? So PhonePe has to hit their APIs. So
Yes,
the contract is different. The response, I mean, everything is different.
yes,
So if you want to switch, bank API is a part of the PhonePe code base.
yes,
Yeah, I connected to the S Bank now. So due to some reason, I need to connect to the ICICI now. Now
yes.
whatever the response I get from ICICI API, right? So I may need to uh, do the changes, right? It is not entirely same.
No, no. Again, Dhananjay, that's the part. I think you missed that part. I just discussed
Okay,
it
yeah,
right now.
please. Mm,
That
mm,
we are implementing these methods inside our
mm,
ICICI Bank API. Okay?
mm, mm,
Implementing using the ICICI Bank contract. Correct? So let's say
mm.
if for an authentication, let's say for authentication, my code base wants a boolean because my code base is dependent on the authentication method using a boolean. Okay, right, Dhananjay? Now, let's say if Yes Bank for authentication returns a boolean, but ICICI returns, let's say, an integer. Can I handle that inside my method? Like if return is, let's say, equal to 1, then I'll return a true here. Can I handle that internally? You get the point, Dhananjay? So your code base is not
Yes, yes,
dependent
yeah.
on one thing. Your code base is dependent on the interface. And your this class implements the interface using the contract. Only this class is bound to this contract. That's it. If any change happens, I will change here. Later on from PhonePe, if I want to use, instead of Yes Bank, I want to use ICICI, I will just change this object. Instead of ICICI, I will just use new Yes Bank. Like that's it. Do you get the point, Ranjay?
Yeah, still somewhere I'm missing. Yeah, let's continue. Okay, I'll just check this part. Maybe I'll take
Sure.
this use case. I will try to implement and I'll see.
No doubt. Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure. Thanks.
Everybody, are you clear? Can I get a yes or no from all of you if you're clear on this? Correct, Sumit, you're right. PhonePe bank API interface is my API class of PhonePe team. Is entered API. Yes, correct. So, Lakshmi, you're right. Your flow is correct. Guys, there are more than 40 people. I'm getting less than 10 people's reaction. This is not right. Not right. Not right. By the way, very soon we are going to change the platform. So a lot of people I've seen just join the class and don't attend. Like just for the attendance, they join the class and then don't attend. Right? Very soon, your interactions will be measured in the class. Okay? If you don't respond enough in the class, your attendance will be marked as 0. So very soon our platform is getting revamped into that. So I will be able to see who are in the class but not responding. That means they've joined and left. So I'll be able to see your messages, I'll be able to see your interactions count and all that. So that will give me the clear idea whether you are actually attending the class or not. Right? Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. A lot of people just join the class just for that attendance, scalar coin, streak. They join the class, they don't attend the class. Right? So we want to go as much as we can so that we can work really hard to make you guys study. Right? But take it. Not an issue. So let me know one thing. Let me try to which one? Where? This is YesBank API, no? This is the implementation of YesBank API. This one, this is the actually calling the YesBank code base. So basically, this calls YesBank, calls ICICI Bank. That's what I'm saying. Basically, this class calls YesBank. So your PhonePe is not calling YesBank. This class is calling YesBank. So PhonePe talks to the interface. Interface has this implementation. This class calls YesBank. PhonePe does not call YesBank directly. Okay, got it? So calls YesBank, calls the backend of YesBank like that. Okay. Clear, everyone? Chalo. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Should we do a demo for this? Do you guys want a demo for this? Do you guys want a demo for adapter? Yes, no? You will not say no. I knew that. You will not say no. Why will you say no? You don't connect to the code base directly, Rashmi. When you call an API, calling to an API is actually calling the code base only, right? I mean, you're making a call to the service, yes bank service. API is not actually the call. API is the, what do you say, the way, like, what do you say, the path on which you make the call. Actually, you make the call. Sure. 3 people said no. Okay. 13 people said yes. Let me quickly open the IntelliJ. Did you guys see which mean? Okay. So let's go ahead and design patterns made. Let's add one more called adapter. Okay. Inside adapter, what we'll do, let's create first. I'll create a package. Okay. I'll create a new package called bank platforms. Okay. Inside bank platforms, I will add ICICI bank API, let's say. Let's say bank API. Now let's say these are three methods. It has three methods. Okay, what are the three methods? Let's say public, boolean, double, float, check balance. Let's say returns something 0.00, 0.0. Okay. Public, integer, authenticate. Let's say it returns 1 or 2, 1 or 0, depends on that. Public int, transfer, returns 1. Check user. Okay. And get balance. No, query balance. I'll do the same thing for, let's say, YesBank API. Instead of query balance, this will become check balance. The return type will also be different. It will be, let's say, double. It will be 0.00. Okay. Check user, instead of check user, I'll say authenticate. Authenticate user, returns a boolean, say return true. And instead of transfer, it's called transaction. Returns, let's say true. Boolean. Now everyone, let's say I have a PhonePe class. Let's say class called PhonePe. Now is PhonePe class, let's say multiple methods, right? Let's say first of all, it is dependent on the bank API. So let's first of all, let's say private bank API, this bank API constructor is equals to new bank API. Let's say initially PhonePe engineers are not very smart. They did a direct dependency, right? Instead of doing a dependency via an adapter, they did a direct dependency. So now PhonePe has, let's say, a method called public. Let's say void transfer money. To transfer money, there are 3 steps. Step number 1, authenticate the user. Right. Step 2, check if enough balance is ready. Check enough balance available. And then let's say transfer the amount. So what we do, if let's say YesBank API dot authenticate user is true, and if YesBank API dot check balance is greater than equal to, let's say, 0 rupees, then if both are true, then what I'll do, I'll say YesBank API dot do transaction. So I'll say if yes bank API dot transaction is also true, in that case, I will return a or I'll just print out transaction is done. Right? Now everyone, let's imagine everything is working fine, all good. Let's say one day what happens, Yes Bank goes down. You have to change this from Yes Bank to ICICI Bank. Now if I change this from Yes Bank to ICICI Bank, what problem will I face? This is gone. I have to write this, right? This is gone. Now everywhere I'll have to change, right? ICICI Bank, no? Everywhere I'll have to change, no? Everywhere I'll have to change. So first of all, ICICI Bank API dot authenticate user. There is no authenticate user method. I have to change this. Dot check user. And check user is returning an integer. So if this is greater than equal to 1, then only I can go ahead and authenticate, correct? Or equal to 1. Right? After that, check balance. Check balance again. So ICICI Bank API dot it is called query balance. It's called query balance. After that again, Yes Bank API, ICICI Bank API dot instead of transaction, I'll do transfer again equal to 1. Then so you see everywhere I have to change my entire method. Should we change and actually write in written code? Should there be ever, if any change happens to your system, should you modify an existing code, everyone? Should you modify an existing code? If you're modifying an existing code, what do you say? What principle are you violating? SRP. Sumit, SRP. OCP, right? Open for extension, closed for modification. Correct? You should never do that. So, everybody, are you clear with the problem here? Dhananjay, are you clear with the problem here? Dhananjay, are you clear with the problem here? Right? Okay. So, instead of doing this, what we actually will do, we'll create an API called, by the way, this actually PhonePe should not be inside bank platform. Let me just refactor the now what I'll do inside this, I'll create a bank API adapter. Bank API adapter interface. And I'll write a few methods. I'll write Boolean, uh, let's say, first of all, double, check balance, Boolean, authenticate, and then Boolean transaction. 3 methods. And this bank API adapter will be implemented by, first of all, Yes Bank API adapter implements bank API adapter. Here, this will be dependent on Yes Bank API, correct? And internally, I will handle. So in check balance, what I'll do, I'll say Yes Bank API dot check balance. I'll say Yes Bank API dot authenticate user. I'll say Yes Bank API dot transaction. Simple, right? Similarly, I'll create another one called ICICI Bank API adapter implements bank API adapter dependent on ICICI Bank. Add the constructor, update of ICICI Bank API, implement the methods. Came in. Now check balance. What do you return? ICICI Bank API dot query balance, right? Because it is float will already automatically get upcasted to double, not a problem. For authenticate, everyone, authenticate if ICICI Bank API dot check user is equal to 1, then I will return authentication is true. Else if ICICI Bank API dot check user is equal to 0, I'll return a false, and by default, I'll return a false. You see how we handle this here? Our system needs the authenticate method to return a boolean, but ICICI Bank API was returning an integer. So I handled that case internally and returned a boolean inside the authenticate method. Is it clear, Dhananjay? Everyone else, are you clear with this? Right? Dot transfer is equal to 1, return true, else return false. Actually, I don't need this else if and all. I can just do it else and then I'll return false. Yes, correct. Here, everyone. Now, simple issue. Go to the actual phone pay. Instead of being dependent on ICICI Bank, private bank API adapter, create a constructor, and then here bank API adapter dot authenticate, bank API adapter dot check balance, bank API adapter dot transaction. Done. Here, just add whatever you want to. So new ICICI Bank adapter, it will also work. This I don't need. This is also not needed. Yeah. ICICI Bank adapter or Yes Bank API adapter, whatever you want to use, you can use. Do I need to make any change in the code? Move from ICICI to Yes Bank? Any change in code, everyone? No, right? These are the bank platforms. This is a separate thing. This is not part of the PhonePe. These are the part of PhonePe. Clear, everyone? Is everyone clear with adapter pattern? Crystal clear? Yes or no? Are you crystal clear? I need to know. Yes or not? Yes, no, everybody. Please respond. Yes? Sure? ठीक. Chalo. Very clear. Good. Which part? Which part, Raj? Let me unmute you quickly. Yeah, Raj, tell me. Raj, did you like? Was there any network issue or anything from your side? Did you miss out on the explanation part?
No, I didn't. This just overall picture
Acha.
I want, like, I need to understand.
So basically, these are the bank APIs, right? These are the bank APIs. So ICICI gives this API where the methods are query balance, check user, returns an integer, returns an integer. Whereas Yes Bank gives instead of query balance, it's check balance. Instead of check user, it's authenticate user. Instead of transfer, it's transaction. So they have their own implementation, right? Every bank will have their own methods, own logic of writing things, correct?
Mhm.
Right, Raj?
Yeah, right. I got it.
So now, instead of PhonePe being dependent directly on the bank API, what I did, I created an API adapter interface, right? Interface has three methods. Check balance returns a double, authenticate returns a boolean, transaction returns a boolean. Now, this interface is being implemented by two places. ICICI API, using the ICICI Bank API, I've done an implementation where I'll take care of what ICICI returns and convert it to boolean. So ICICI was returning an integer, right, for authenticate. It was actually called check user. So internally, I'll call check user. I'll see the return type and return a true or false depending upon that. Similarly, for transactions, I can do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will handle this. I will also do it the same for Yes Bank. I will make call to Yes Bank API. Internally, I will handle. I'll make two classes which are implementing the bank API adapter. And the actual PhonePe class is never dependent on the bank APIs directly. The actual PhonePe class is dependent on the bank API adapter, which is our own interface that we have written. And we will just inject whatever object I want, either Yes Bank API or ICICI Bank API, depending upon the configuration. And then we will write all our logic basis on this adapter, not directly on the third party.
Okay.
Clear, Raj?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's dependency injection, but better way. Are you seeing this one? I mean, talking about this part. That is automatic. Implicit. Okay, cool. Everyone clear? All good? Okay. If all good, should we take a short break? Come back and do facade? First of all, don't be sorry about to ask any questions. I'm saying here, this one. No, you don't need. You don't need. Builder here. You don't need. Because that's already written. The class is already. It's not like we are creating a new object again and again. Okay. Sure. I'll update the link on notability side. What happened? Why is cool. So let's connect back everyone at 8:15. Break for the next 8 minutes. 7 minutes actually. Quickly come back in 7 minutes and we'll resume, okay? Sure. 7 minutes from now. Hey everyone. No, Mohit, you can actually, do that. Uh, the implementation, like how we have done, in this one you will not be able to do it runtime because it's happening inside the constructor, right? So inside the constructor, you can only like inside constructor will only be called once when the object is being created. But definitely you can write a code in such a way that if yes bank goes down on the runtime, it will make a call to ICICI. That is doable, but not the way we have done here. That this is not actually for that. Like in adapter, we don't switching is not the part of the adapter design pattern. Okay, hystrix is something different. Hystrix is something different. Hystrix is used for circuit breaking. That's a different story. Hystrix is for circuit break. It's not circuit change. Circuit break just breaks the circuit. It's not switching, and that's for handling cascading failures. It's not for what do you say for switching between things. Yes, Sanjay. Correct. So basically, the way we have done in the adapter design pattern is we have done via the constructor, right? Constructor wise, runtime may you cannot do it. You can definitely create a configuration. So whenever you deploy, it will take that configuration and inject that object, whether ICICI or Yes Bank or Axis, whatever. But on the runtime, not possible. See, adapter design pattern does not deal with switching between the third parties. Adapter deals with giving you the capability to change the third party whenever you need from A to B without much code change on your core business logic. Right? That's the main thing. All good, everyone? Exactly. Yes. Sure. You can say that. Yes, definitely. Correct. Chalo. Should we resume, folks? Should we resume? Yes. So adapter, easy, tough, medium. What do you think? Will you be able to implement? Will you be able to implement adapter now on your own? Where to use adapter? Are you all clear where to use adapter? No. API is an adapter. Socket API is a socket in which you plug into. How can the socket be an adapter? Correct, Lashmi. Yes, Nami, correct. Right. Cool. Chalo, let's start the next one. Correct position, right? Correct. Let's start with the second one. That is the facade design pattern. Very easy, very simple. What is the meaning of facade design pattern? What is the meaning of facade? What is facade? You know what the English meaning of facade? I just want to know the actual English meaning of facade. Correct? False front. Correct. Basically, it's like a boundary. It's a boundary. Correct. Outside view. Correct. Correct. It's a boundary. It's an outside view. Correct. So basically, it's a boundary or outside view. You might have seen when there is a construction happening. When there is a construction happening, uh, there is like people use like a lot of guards so that it does not like guard the boundary, right? With like 10 sheets and all that. So that looking into the construction site, it's very dirty to look into, right? So you want to provide a cleaner view, right? You want to provide a cleaner view. Basically, we use facade. Facade facade is used to provide a cleaner view of a complex environment. Is it correct? Everyone? Is it correct? Not actually abstraction. Ashwina, not actually abstraction. We'll see. right? Let's take an example. Uh, if you go to a bank, right? What are the things that you can do with the bank? Like if you go to a bank, what are the things that you can do? You can open a new account, new savings account. Let's say you can open a new FD, fixed deposit. You can take a new credit card, correct? You might take debit card, checkbook, and all that. Different things that you can do, right? In the bank. But don't you think this is very complex? Like filling up the form for FD, filling the form for credit card, taking a loan. All these things are very complex process, isn't it? Lot of pen, paper, forms, etc., etc. Yes, anyone? Instead of this, what bank does for you is that bank gives you a relationship manager. Bank gives you a relationship manager, correct? The relationship manager helps you to open an FD, helps you to apply for a credit card, gives you the loans. All things are taken care of the relationship manager. So basically, this relationship manager acts as a facade, to simplify your banking experience. Correct? Correct. As Sumit says, cleaner view of complex and cluttered work. Does this make sense, everyone? Does this make sense, everyone? Yes, no? Yes? So are you clear with the concept of facade, everyone? Are you clear with the concept of facade? What is a facade? Are you clear with the concept of that? What is a facade? Yeah, Naveen. Well said. Well said. Correct. Okay. Now, everyone, let's say that you are writing the code for Amazon. Let's say you're writing the code for Amazon. Okay. Let's say Amazon. Now, initially, let's say everything is in a single class. Everything is in a single class. Imagine. Okay. Now, there will be different services, right? Everyone. There will be different services. Like, for example, inventory management service, which will take care of all the logic of inventory management. Let's say inventory management system. Inventory management service. Then we have, let's say, payment service. Then let's say we have tracking service. Then let's say we have email service. Then let's say we have SMS service, right? We have all these things. Now, if I do, let's say, order placed. Let's see if I do order placed. What will I do? For the order placed, for placing an order, everyone, what will you do? First of all, when the order is placed, will you not confirm whether the inventory is available or not? Yes. So first of all, let's say you call the inventory management system. You call the inventory management system service dot check inventory. Correct. Let's say the inventory is present. Will you not update the inventory? Like, will you not reduce the count by one? Let's say there were 100 products. You bought one. It should get updated, right? Right? 100 to 99. Yes or no? Yes, everyone? Yes. So same thing again. Right? After that, you might want to know the location, like at which warehouse is the inventory present. Correct? At which warehouse the inventory is present. Correct? One more thing you will do. Check item location. And once you get the location, everyone, once you get the location, will you not notify the warehouse to pack that product? Will you not notify the warehouse to pack the product and keep it ready for shipping? Right. Again, notify warehouse. Okay. After all these things are done, you also want to take the payment, right? Also take the payment. So it's a payment service dot do payment. Correct. After this, once the payment is also done, will you not notify your customers? You will, right? Notify. So let's say SMS service dot notify, email service dot notify, and then tracking. Let's say so tracking service dot track. Okay. So everyone, do you see one thing? Does the code look very clean to you here? Is the method order placed method? Is the order placed method looking very clean to you? Is the order placed method looking very clean? Is it not too much, too cluttered? Is it cluttered, right? Too much complex? Correct. So currently, all the work that needs to be done, when an order is placed is done by a single method. This makes it complex. Whenever something becomes complex, what should we use to make it better? What should we use to make it better? We introduce a facade. RN, exactly. Correct, Dinesh. Facade, right? So what is facade? Facade pattern basically says that. Facade pattern basically says one thing, simple thing. Facade pattern says just one thing. Simple. When something becomes too complex, break it down using helpers. That's it. Done. So what will I do? What I will do is here is I will first of all copy this code. I will break things down. How will I break things down? Are break things down. How will I break things down? I will first of all create an inventory. I'll create an inventory management helper. Okay, just a second. Array. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll create a class called inventory management helper, and I'll put all the order place related inventory methods here. So update order placed. All the updates after order place, I'll put them here. All the calls. All these things will go here. And what I will do, inside the Amazon's classes, I'll just call inventory management helper dot update order placed. Do you understand what happened here? Instead of making 4 different calls inside the order placed method, I took that 4 into a helper class and I called the helper. Like how you actually filling the forms, instead of you actually filling the forms, you call the relationship manager to fill the forms. Correct? Same thing. Instead of doing the actual work inside the order placed, you call the helper and you make the helper do the work. Similarly, let's say I will create a notification helper. And I'll move these notification methods here. Let's call this method called customer notify, right? And I'll call here notification helper dot notify, customer notify. Everyone, are you clear on this? What happened? So finally, the code will look something like this. Final piece of code will look like this. Amazon. It will have a method called order placed, which will call inventory management helper dot update order placed, payment service dot do payment, notification helper dot customer notify, and finally track service dot track. Right. Tell me, does this thing look much more cleaner? Does this look much more cleaner than before? Yes or no? Yes, exactly. Correct, Dhananjay. So Facade also helps us with SRP. Divyanshu, you are also right. Right. Clear? This is what basically Facade design pattern is. That's it. That's it for Facade. That's it. Facade basically says that segregate, like not segregate, basically group the multiple different things together, which logically make sense, and then take it out as a helper and call the helper. Don't write everything at one place. Segregate them into multiple helpers, right? Group the similar things, put it in one helper. Group other similar things, put it in one helper. Group other similar things, put it in one helper. That's it. That's all you need to do. And that's what Facade design pattern is. Nothing else. Create a helper class, put the methods there, call that particular one helper class, and get the job done. Everyone, are you clear on this? Lakshmi, while discussing SRP only, we discussed this, but this is like the design pattern. So you should know if somebody says Facade design pattern, you should not get shocked. What is Facade design? Simple, quick, easy, cute, right? Very cute design pattern. Right? Nothing much, right? Chalo. Cool. So Facade mein we don't have much code to do. I would want you guys to do the code actually. So you guys will do the code for that. So I'll give you an assignment, okay? I'll give you 2 assignments today. Number 1, the Amazon Facade example should be coded. Code. Number 2, I want you to implement adapter. So adapter. I'll give you a case study for adapter. How many of you have had one-to-ones with me? Anybody has one-to-one with me till now? Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. No? Okay, no, no. Okay. So basically, I use something known as a Calendly. Okay, Calendly. Anybody has heard Calendly before? Has used Calendly before? Anybody here? So in Calendly, what you can do, basically, you can set up meetings. So I'll show you a demo of Calendly, okay? I'll show you a demo of Calendly. Let me show you this to you. Let me know once you're able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? अरे यार. Yes, okay. So basically what I can do is, what is the problem? Now it's working properly. Okay. Okay. Now. Everyone, if you see here, if I go to this, right, if I can set up anything. Now, if I go here, do you see this location? Everyone see the location, like where do I want to do the meeting? Here I can choose. I can choose phone call, I can choose Google Meet, I can choose Zoom, I can use Teams, I can use WebEx, I can use Go Meeting, I can use whatever. So basically, Meet, Zoom, and Teams. Let's just take these three. That means whenever I will schedule a call, I will give you the link and you will schedule a call with me. Automatically, it will generate a Google Meet link, it will generate a Zoom link, it will generate a Microsoft Teams link. Right? How is it able to do this? How are you able to do this? That means you have dependency on third party. Calendly is calling Google Meet, Calendly is calling Zoom, Calendly is calling Teams, depending upon what you choose here. Correct? Whenever we call a third party, what should we use? Whenever we call a third party, what should we use? Adapter. Exactly. So basically, what you have to do, you have to write a code. To implement Calendly. Calendly uses Google Meet, Zoom, Teams. Okay. So basically, you have to implement Calendly. I have to create a method called create meeting link. Create meeting. This should generate a meeting link. Generate a meeting link. Okay. And inside this create meeting, you have to pass the platform. Right? Platforms are these three. Okay. So basically, your overall code base will look something like this. You will have the Calendly code. Inside this, you will have a package called platform. Inside the platform, you will have three classes: Google Meet API. Inside this, you'll have a method called like some method to generate link, some method to generate link. Right? Google Meet API, Zoom API, and Teams API. Right? All of them will have some method. Make sure that the method names are different. Method names are different and the parameters are different. Okay. And you will have an actually Calendly class, which will have a method called create meeting, which will internally, and you pass the platform here, which will internally calls them to generate. Now in this, you have to implement, here you have to implement adapter. Okay, this is your assignment. Is everyone clear with the assignment for this? Any questions on the assignment side? No, Mohit, strategy is a different. We'll discuss strategy. No worry. Strategy will come up, right? Strategy is when the business logic is different, not the third-party dependency is different. It's when the logic itself is different. Here, generating link is the same logic, right? I can generate a link with Teams, I can generate a link with Zoom, I can generate a link with Meet. There's no change in business logic. When there is a business logic change, then we use strategy design pattern. So that will come. Don't worry. Strategy will discuss. Strategy is yet to come. So we'll discuss that in detail. This is not strategy. This is a raptor. Everyone clear with the segment? Will everybody be able to do that? Are you guys doing peer reviews? Are you guys doing peer reviews? Yes? Please do. It will also help you to learn Git as well. Those of you who don't know, please do Git as well. Git is very important. Very, 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 very important. Very important. Okay. Yes, Sumit, please do. And ask it to everyone. Right. Tag me, but ask it to everyone, and I will request everyone to like help each other out. Right. Cool. So let's start the round session. We are done. We are done very early today. All the topics that we wanted to discuss today is completed. Facade and adapter both. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Any doubts? I've shared the code with all of you for the adapter. Facade clear. I don't need you. I don't think we need to code. You guys will do the code. Assignments has 2 parts. Any questions, everyone? Not right now. I mean, we will do. Don't worry. We'll do a lot of things that will actually bring the user design patterns together. Now, saying that doing all design patterns in one project might not be possible because you might not need all the design patterns in one project, but we'll try to inculcate as many of them as we want, as we can. Okay. And we have tic-tac-toe, we have book my show, we have splitwise, we have a lot of things to build. Don't worry, we will implement them. Oh, you're saying that you'll take and like you'll create all the write the code for all of them. Yes, please do that. I mean, please practice that. Please put it on your GitHub as well. It'll help you to reference later on, and it'll also make your profile a bit better. Any other question, guys? Any questions? Is everything clear today? Okay. Looks like everybody has everything clear today. Okay, that's great. Awesome. Cool. Then we'll wrap it up here. Please go back and write the code for this. Please go back and review on this. Remember the design patterns. It is very important. Okay. Contract is nothing but the API that you get, right? So basically, Yes Bank gives you a document that this is the API. This is what you need to pass. This is what you will get in return. So that is called a contract. Basically, a document that is being shared that defines what actual APIs are, what inputs you need to give, and what output you can expect in what format. That is what basically contract is. Nothing else. It's not a legal contract. It's just a like common ground that okay, we will communicate like this. Cool. Sure. Awesome. Then Ashmina, they might ask you this directly. Design pattern. Like, do you know this design pattern? Yes, implement it. Give us an example. Or they might ask you to design something in NLD, which will inculcate internally the design pattern. So that we will see once we start designing tic-tac-toe, once we start designing other things, we'll see how to design things using design pattern. Other than that, they might ask you directly as well. They might ask you to design something, and internally they might be expecting you to use design patterns. So both can happen. Okay. About YouTube implementation, like how YouTube works, or LLD of YouTube. I don't think that will be possible, but I think you guys can check that on masterclasses. You guys will have access to masterclasses, right? All the masterclasses. In one of the masterclass, you have streaming platform ka LLD and HLD both. You can just check the HLD and LLD of streaming platforms. You can use that masterclass and go through that. Right? Okay. Chalo, awesome. I'll see you guys in the next class. Till then, please take care, stay safe, and do the assignments. Please keep the peer review going on. Help each other in the group, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye, bye, everyone.